Alrighty, let's get started. This is Marvin Huddleston, the Rambling Observer. I'm here to talk to you today about what's up in the sky and what's going on in astronomy this week. These videos are designed to start on the beginning of the week on Sunday and end on Saturday. I'm going to try to do this this way every week. Sometimes I may be running a little bit late and only get to it around Monday, which has happened once. But let's get going here. There's not a lot of things to share with you today. There's a number of things I'll tell you about, and at least one major anniversary date that I'll tell you about that has to do with astronomy. But first, let's look at the weather in a couple of locations that are known for astronomy and astronomy star parties and that sort of thing. Alexa, what is the weather in Caney, Oklahoma?
In Caney, Oklahoma, it's 54 degrees Fahrenheit with clear skies and sun. Today's forecast calls for more of the same, with a high of 57 degrees and a low of 31 degrees.
Of course, Caney, Oklahoma is the site of the Texas Astronomical Society's observing site, which now that I have both a tow vehicle and a casita, I plan to start going to quite a lot this year, starting late fall, late spring, early summer, that sort of time frame. Alexa, what is the weather in Chiefland, Florida?
In Chiefland, Florida, it's 79 degrees Fahrenheit with cloudy skies. Today, you can look for lots of clouds and thunderstorms, with a high of 79 degrees and a low of 46 degrees.
And of course, Chiefland, Florida is near the location of the Chiefland Star Party. There is a village called the Chiefland Astronomy Village in that area. It's actually south of the great metropolis of Chiefland, Florida. Alexa, what is the weather in Fort Davis, Texas?
Currently, in Fort Davis, Texas, it's 55 degrees Fahrenheit with clear skies and sun. Today, you can expect mostly sunny weather, with a high of 62 degrees and a low of 33 degrees.
And of course, Fort Davis, Texas is near the location of the Texas Star Party, which will be occurring this year in late April, first week of May, which I plan to attend with the casita. That's a great location. The McDonald Observatory is also nearby, and so that's the area known well for astronomy. So let's get started. Someone asked me the question, how did you come up with the name Rambling Observer? And I don't think I've discussed this before, but back in the late 60s, early 1970s, I was a member of the Junior Texas Astronomical Society, better known as JTAS. And our newsletter was called the Rambling Observer. So I have adopted that as my screen name for doing YouTube videos, the Rambling Observer, especially those talking about astronomy. So that's why I've called this the Rambling Observer. Also, our casita, we have named it Stormy. And that is because Stormy is the name of the Mesquite High School mascot in Mesquite, Texas. That's where my wife and I attended school for 4 years as high schoolers, and we were high school sweethearts and graduated from Mesquite High School and went on to get married the following February 13th. And that is our anniversary date. So I just wanted to share that. Okay, let's talk about what's going on in astronomy these days. Back in 1968, a big announcement was made that the first pulsar was discovered. Now, I was going to get Alexa to do a definition for you of pulsar, and she didn't know what it was. So I don't know if it's my pronunciation or what, but I'll forego that at this point. I encourage you to just go to Google and Google that question. Okay, the pulsar that was discovered on that date was announced on that date, was actually discovered November 28th of 1968. It was later designated as PSR B 1919 plus 21. That's its name. So if you find that pulsar and look at that, if you want to know its name, that's its name. So you can really wow people by saying, oh yeah, that's PSR B 1919 plus 21. And if you are a student and you get into a situation where you're in an astronomy class and you're asked that question, you can really wow your teacher and say that name. All you got to do is memorize it, which I have not done. That pulsar has a period of 1.3373 seconds. That's how fast it rotates every second. At 1.3373 seconds is how long it takes it to rotate. Just like the Earth rotates as it spins around the sun, so does a pulsar rotate. It's rotating extremely fast. Okay, that was news for the 24th. It was on this date that was announced. On the 25th, which is Monday, Mercury will be at perihelion, which is its closest point in its orbit to the sun. Mercury is on an 88-day orbit, so if it's rotating, or if this is the sun and it's rotating around the sun, it takes Mercury 88 days to make one rotation around the sun. Just a little tidbit of information, another thing you can wow your science teacher with. Mercury has a highly elliptical orbit, unlike most of the other planets which orbit very circular around the sun. Mercury has an elliptical orbit. Its distance from the sun ranges from 0.307 astronomical units to 0.467 astronomical units. Right now, from Mesquite, Texas, it will be about 13 degrees above the horizon, so it'll be a difficult object for us here to observe at that low altitude above the horizon. You get down to that altitude and you're going to start having trouble with, first of all, you have trouble with so much atmosphere. You're looking through a lot of atmosphere. The other thing you can learn that I can teach you right now is if you're looking straight up, we call that the zenith. And if you go outside and look up straight up at night, straight up over your head, you're looking at the zenith. And you are looking through the least amount of atmosphere of the Earth that you can. If you're looking at 13 degrees, looking at something like Mercury, you're looking through an enormous amount of atmosphere. And you're going to it's very difficult to get really sharp pictures of Mercury because it's shimmering and flickering and blinking like stars do because of the atmosphere of the Earth. Any kind of atmospheric disturbance that you look through causes that effect. So getting a really good transparent night with good seeing is what we call is when the atmosphere that you're looking through to see an astronomical object is very steady. On the 26th, which is Tuesday, we will have a last quarter moon at 1128 hours UT. That's Universal Time, based on Greenwich, England, which is where 0 hours UT is at midnight. Anyway, we will have a last quarter moon on that date and at that time. And then on the 27th, we have a Mercury again. Will be at its greatest eastern elongation of 18 degrees. That's going to happen at 0100 Universal Time, UT. So if I say UT, you'll know I'm talking about Universal Time. And you can Google that and figure out how that works too. Also, at 0415 hours UT on the 27th, Algol, the star Algol, which is a variable star, will be at its minimum. And then at 1400 hours UT, Jupiter will be 2 degrees south of the moon. So that'd be an easy way to find Jupiter. It makes a very pretty pairing when you look up at the moon and you see Jupiter or any of the other bright ones like Venus, or it's just a very beautiful sight. It also helps you find objects when you're looking at looking for something like Pluto or Neptune or whatever. When they're very close to the moon, it's very easy to locate those in binoculars. Okay, on the 1st, March the 1st, at 1800 hours UT, Saturn will be 0.3 degrees south of the moon. And there will be an occultation visible in some parts of the world. Then on the 2nd, which will be Saturday, at 2000 hours Universal Time, Pluto will be 0.6 degrees south of the moon. There will also be another occultation in some parts of the world, and Venus will be 1.2 degrees north of the moon. So that's this week in the sky and in astronomy. So you can wow your friends and neighbors by knowing all these facts, and go out and point something out to somebody. They'll think you're so smart. How did he know that that's where Saturn was going to be, or that Jupiter was going to be that close, and all that kind of stuff. One of the fun things also that I just now realized that I've just done this whole video and did not have my microphone plugged up. So hopefully you can hear us just fine. I was running into a problem. I couldn't hear anything on my phone. I'm going, why is this thing silent? And I had this thing plugged in. And as I was testing my Cirrus, as I was testing my Alexa, and there she's going to talk to me now. I don't understand that. As I was testing that to see if it was going to sound, I had unplugged this so I could get volume, and that didn't work. Okay, let me tell you a little thing about my casita I found out today. I'm going to do another video very soon, doing a walkthrough of our Casita travel trailer, which is a Spirit Deluxe model 2018. We only picked it up in January, about the 25th of January. We've had it about 29 days now. A really funny thing, though, I got to complaining about on the Casita Owners of America group. I posted a little complaint about why in the world did Casita place the bathroom vent where they did. Why they didn't move it over so it wouldn't be in your head, and 5'9" man like me always bumping his head on it. Well, all these folks came in, gave me all these posts and things, and some people took exception to me complaining about the Casita. Guess what, folks? I'm not going to praise everything that some people think need to be praised. I love our Casita. I think it is a great company. They give a Bible to everyone who buys a Casita. You'll open up when you get your Casita, you'll open it up, look in some of the cabinets, and you'll find a Bible in there. That's because they're a Christian company. And I love that. I love the Casita, and I think Casitas are one of the best, if not the best, small, affordable, fairly affordable fiberglass trailer you can get. I think they're much better than the Scamp, which we briefly considered. And we briefly considered the junk that you find on the lots, and we very quickly returned to our original desire of buying a Casita, which we have wanted since 1982 or 83. But anyway, let me tell you what some folks took exception to. I was kind of complaining about bumping my head in the shower. And when I talk to you about the Casita, I'm going to give you both the pros and the cons. And these forums like Casita Owners of America, that should be a place that you talk about the things you like and the things you don't like about the Casita. Well, let me show you something real quick. This is kind of funny. Okay, if you look up there, and we're looking at it at an angle, it's not too easy to see. I can't zoom in. Anyway, that white little bar there is what I kept bumping my head on. Guess how that works? We've only had our Casita close to a month now. So I didn't know. I have not gotten in the shower with my shoes off and tried to see how comfortable and how functional it's going to be until now. Well, I thought that little fan in there, and several times I've turned that fan on and just ran it to experiment with it. I thought it was like the fan above my head right there. Okay, if you turn that fan on above my head, it automatically opens the vent. Well, guess what doesn't happen? The fan in the exhaust fan in the bathroom does not work that way. You have to grab hold of that handle and push up, and then you have opened your vent, and it's completely out of the way then, so you can take your shower and all that, and you're good to go. So we are learning as we go along. Let me share with you real quick. This, my necklace, a lot of people, I'm also a coin collector, and a lot of people will see this at my coin clubs and go, oh, that's cool. What coin is that? It's not a coin. That, my friends, is a meteorite. And I wear that on my sterling silver necklace. And so that's kind of just something I wanted to share with you. I like wearing a piece of the solar system on my chest. One of the things you may not know is when you start talking about silver and especially gold and things like that, those aren't formed in the geological processes of the Earth. Those are formed from the explosion of supernova. So if you have a gold ring, like my wedding ring that I've worn faithfully for 44 years, or 43 years, and we got married since then, that little piece of metal, I can't get it off my finger, that little piece of metal right there was formed from the explosion of a supernova in outer space. And all that material winds up when the Earth was coalescing, as the solar system was being born by the sun, from the processes as the sun coalesced and became the sun. Parts of the stuff that weren't drawn in by gravity became the planets. And in that process, gold gets sucked in as the Earth was being formed when God created this great planet. And you find these veins of gold. That's where coal comes from. It doesn't come from geological processes of the Earth. Okay, I won't charge you more for that. That's free. Okay, let me go ahead and close. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I really hope that you will subscribe to this video. I hope you'll leave comments. I have no idea yet how to find those comments. I'm still learning YouTube, and I've got to get some better equipment to do this with. That's going to be a must down the road. But anyway, clear skies to you. Please remember, turn off those outside white lights. Use only red light when you're out camping and things. The reason for that is you ruin your night vision. If you want to do astronomy, you do not want to go outside and sit on the door, for example, the door side of your camper, and have your little light over the door on while you're laying back looking at the sun. Looking at the sky. The reason for that is that white light destroys your night vision. You cannot see the trueness in the spectacular night sky as you need to see it with fully dark adapted eyeballs. You need that dark adaptation to be able to see things in astronomy. And if you go to things like the Texas Star Party or our monthly star parties the Texas Astronomical Society has at the observing site, it's really not parties. That's just a bunch of people get together and set up their telescopes and swap views and just have fun. We will be taking our Casita up there quite a lot now that I've got this thing and now that I have something to tow it with. And that's going to be my most frequented place with my Casita, or my wife's and my Casita. Anyway, I hope that you will go out and enjoy the night sky. Go out and look at these things I've talked about. If you don't know something, Google it. A couple of resources you can use. I get a lot of my information for this off of books like this, the Observer's Handbook for 2019. This is done by the Royal Astronomical Society in Canada, not London, but in Canada. I'm a member of the Royal Astronomical Society in London, not the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada. But this is another resource. This is the Astronomy Magazine's Deep Space Mysteries calendar for 2019. And you open this up, You look in there and you have a beautiful picture at the top of your calendar, and down below it gives you all the stuff that you need to know, and it talks about on the side here, it gives you some detailed focus on some things having to do with astronomy. So go outside, enjoy the night sky, get away from that city lights, turn them white lights off, and take your binoculars, sit back in a lawn chair, and observe the night sky with those. The other thing you could do in your lawn chair is lay back and just watch meteors and count those things. If you want to get real technical, you can record those. The way we used to do it was we used WWV radio chiming in the background, and it was going, it's counting off every second. That's how we used to time things in astronomy. Nowadays, there's so many other resources. We don't have to be that accurate using WWV radio. For example, our phones are extremely accurate in time because they're based on military GPS satellites. Very accurate. Very, very accurate. So anyway, enjoy astronomy. Go outside, look at the sky, and we'll catch you next week.